what do? They start to reevaluate, how can I re-quantify the statistics I have to make them sound better? How can I draw more attention? If I was saying that we had 10,000 visitors a day and we got down to 100 visitors a day, is there a way for me to say that we have 10,000 visitors a day? Yeah, there's always tricks. Ever been to a web page and you kind of hear a click and it seems like either the whole page or part of the page is refreshing, or at least you hear that click? That means the page is refreshing. Even though you didn't touch anything, you're sitting on the page and yet you hear this click in the background. Okay? There was a period of time, and it doesn't exist so much now. Okay, my son came in to deliver me a pink plant. That he found at a store somewhere, and so they had to pick it up and say, "Look at this! It's really pink. It's the way they hybrid crust it and stuff, and it's a plant, pink leaves. It's a pretty interesting thing." I'm not even all that fond of pink. All right, here we go. Where were we? Okay, the owners of the programs that do exist, instead of moving across to something else like they ought to be, they think about how to refashion the statements, how to increase the stats, how to make it possible for newbies, that is, the uninitiated, novices, people who are just coming online now, who haven't had a chance to evaluate anything they see. They figure out how to paint that picture that indicates that they have a lot going on. Now, where I was talking about the page refreshing, that's right, that's where I was at. Page refreshing. You ever hear that clicking noise and either all or just a tiny piece of that page keeps seeming to refresh over and over again? That's because sites like Alexa and so forth, and even Google, if it's sending off the script command, to any of these sites to indicate, hey, I got another hit, I got another hit, I got another hit, I got another hit. Well, if it refreshes once every 5 seconds and you're on the page reading the content, and this is where it applies best, this sort of refreshing technique on a page. It refreshes the content every 5 seconds, say. Then the whole time you sit on the page reading the entire article or looking through the whole list of items, whatever it is, it's a long page, and maybe a piece down the bottom like the number of visitors online now. That's the way you trick it out too, because people say, don't systems recognize that to be phony? And the answer is, well, you can justify it. If you have a little module that showed the number of members online now, well, if it was completely static, then it's static. But if you want to actually update that thing every 5 seconds, then you would. What you do is put the piece of script coding. You just put in the part of the page, or put the script coding in the page, in that part, so that Google and other places can actually sort of register that there was another visitor. So it's tit for tat, a twist on a theme that makes it possible to sort of legitimately say, well, the thing refreshes, and if they say, why was your script there? The guy will say, I don't know anything about HTML. I just built this page out of pieces, or whatever, or just happened to be in that area. But the fact of the matter is, now if you're sitting on the page for 5 minutes and it's clicking away like 20 times a minute, that's 100 clicks. So it's possible for a website to make it look like one visitor is 100. Okay, so you have sites coming out with little techniques like this. All right. Another one is to give you reasons to go back and forth through lots of pages. Every time you click on a new link to a new page, in other words, is it better to have one long page or a bunch of short pages? It just depends on what's happening out there. If your website is one page, generally speaking, outside of a contact us link, then you could do the one long sales pitch page, that kind of thing. But usually that's best for active advertising. That is when you're not trying to rank yourself in Google or trying to show how much visitor traffic you really get because you're trying to compete on it because you don't need to. But for sites that are trying to get ranked hard, they're trying to show the popularity. That is how many people hit their pages. They'll cause a refreshing tendency to overemphasize the number of visitors they have. That way, they can self-inflate the numbers artificially. That way, sites that are dying and losing money can justify sudden increases in visitor traffic. And if you asked them, well, why do you say you have a sudden increase in visitor traffic? They'll say, because we checked our logs. And there are more visitors now than there were before. I'm not sure why. They might even tell you, if the conversation ever gets that far. But what they'll say is, we've been having dramatic increases in our visitor count. Now, how hard is that to fake? If you can make one page refresh once for every 5th person that hits that page, then you can show an increase of 20%. In other words, 6 total hits, even though there were 5 total page visits, 1/5 more. Okay, 20% increase in traffic that can translate to. Sites use tricks like that. Another one that does that is paid to read email programs. Now, if I just cut across and explain that concept first, this is an interesting one. Don't know if you've ever seen PTRs, or paid to read emails. Well, what's happening is you're being paid part of a penny to read spam. So for every piece of spam that you open, and you're given a list of it to read, literally, it's an email inbox in your pay to read email program. So you kind of go log into the site, and in there you have an inbox, and it's got, oh, lo and behold, 5 messages today. And you go look at your 5 messages, and you're going to get paid whatever, like 0.17 cents. 0.17 cents, not 1.7 cents, 0.17 cents, very, very cheap to open each one. And you probably don't have any requirements for how long you have to keep it open when it's cheap like that. It's when they pay you like 18 cents that you have to keep it open 5 to 10 to 15 seconds, some such thing. So commensurately, you think about the fairness of it is, if I got paid 1.7 cents and I could open it and shut it within 1 second, if I made to stay on it for 10 seconds, that's 10 emails. I want to get paid 17 cents, or something like that. Or if I'm getting paid 0.17, I want to get paid 1.7, a factor of 10 for the 10 seconds you have to wait, right? And yet the value is greater for them. The reality check is, the longer you keep it open, the assumption is the more you'll physically read on the page, and therefore the more that the website owner has a chance to hook you. And so you might actually get lucky and find systems kind of being fair and paying you even more, right? But then other systems know, if you don't know the concept well, then it's the other way around. If you don't know what the threshold is, you don't know what's fair and what isn't. So they can pay you less, and it really boils down to the newbie. I'm going to keep coming back to the newbie point of view often. And by newbie, I simply mean novice, somebody who hits the internet trying to get into opportunities and figure out how to make money. Okay, that's what I mean by newbie. I'm not talking about people creating articles. I'm not talking about people researching and developing Wikipedia. I'm just talking about people who are trying to make money online doing any number of things. Okay, as automated as possible and hands-off as possible, or whatever the case may be, or even as custom as possible. But I'll come back to that, because newbies are young and old, and they usually start off with very little budget, mostly because they don't have much trust and they don't know much of what they're doing, and there are so many choices, it's insane. All right, so the whole concept of novices. Ever get an email from a major guru online, internet guru, big name you know, and the email says, for newbie internet marketers only, or something like that, for new internet marketers only, with an exclamation point. And then in there, it proceeds to explain to you the fastest way to get to the top, whatever it might be, right? Now, in the case of it being some sort of a review email, just kind of trying to show you a fast track to get through the program, that'd be nice and all. But the fact of the matter is, the program was already as fast tracked as it could be, or it's being updated, kept up. So if you bought the mainstream program, you would probably be getting the most useful total review anyway, all right? Most of the time, and granted, there are occasions when people are honest about that, and they came up with a review one week and they just flared up and decided to do it. And then they came out with that, and so you might have your for new internet marketers only, but it doesn't make sense. It's a review topic for everyone, right? Showing the whole progression end to end. It should say for review and new guys or some such thing. Otherwise, they're losing, showing the review to guys who've kind of gotten dead or numb to their program already, been in it a long time, and they need to bring it back out. Okay, and they could do it that way. But it says for new internet marketers only. What is the point most of the time? It's simple. New internet marketers are the ones who won't know better. When they see the email, it's going to make sense to them, and they might buy the product. The reason the guys say for new internet marketers only is because they're trying to provide sensible customer service and not offend guys who've been around a while, who are going to read the email and say, this is garbage, it won't work. Do you get it? So if it's for new internet, anybody who tries to position a thing to make it sound like there's a special benefit for new people that gives them an advance way in, or an extra leg in, read that backwards again. Don't think about it from your own point of view greedily, because you fail to understand what's happening when you do. What you need to realize is it's the opposite way around.